July 5th, and Bitcoin is at a crucial moment. The movement we're tracking is fundamental. Today is Sunday, and what we saw last week, as you know, was that it didn't break through the 58,000 zone. On this channel, we specifically said that the price was likely to go up, and that's exactly what we've seen, even when everywhere else they were calling for 52,000. All right, now we're entering the channel we've seen in previous weeks between 59,000 and 60,000 and the 69,000 zone. In other words, 60,000 to 69,000. And you already know that the middle of the channel is always crucial. Let's see what the price is going to do over the next few days. That is, at the start of the week. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you at least two ways. If you don't understand trading and what you want is to make money in a very simple way, I'm going to give you two tricks, so to speak, where if you're not greedy, you'll be able to earn some income very easily. But let's get to the analysis of what the price is going to do. You already know that the price doesn't move. If you thought that the price moves because of indicators like MACD, RSI, Elliott, moving averages, or whatever you want, that's not the case. Indicators are just telling you what has happened in the past. You don't even need any indicator for the price. We already know exactly what happened. What we want to know is what's going to happen in the future. And for that, the only way that works, by the way, I'm Miguel Vasquez, and after 15 years in professional trading, I can tell you that the only way to understand what the price is going to do is to understand what is being prepared or what those who really move the price are doing, which are the institutions and the big players. They are people or groups of people who have a huge amount of money in all the markets, in this case in Bitcoin, and what they do is move the price however they want. They completely manipulate the indicators, and retail traders always end up taking the opposite side of the move the price is actually going to make. Here, all the retail traders, so to speak, entered a bearish move because all the indicators or all, thank you, and everything was telling you that the price was going to 52. I'm not saying it won't go to 52, but only after the big players have done their business. Their business, for the big players to make money, retail traders have to lose. What we're going to do is think like the big players and make money the way they do. All right, we have the forecast I told you about during this area when it reached 60. Now that it has broken through that area and come back to the middle of the channel, it has been spot on. What we're going to do is look at what it's going to do in the next few days. For that, we set up support and resistance levels to know where this asset is going to move. 60,000 as support, 52,000 also as a lower safety net. But this weekend or in these days, for the forecast we're making, it's obviously not going to reach 52,000. On the upside, 69,000, we're waiting for it, but it's also a more complicated move, and it's not going to reach 69,000 so quickly in the very short term, and then 74,000. All right, these are the steps through which Bitcoin is going to move. You already know that all assets look for a step. They make the move with strong hands and volume. We know what they're doing, or at least what their most likely intention is. And when they reach these areas with that volume and no shapes of the Japanese candlesticks, we can determine with great precision what the next move will be. To determine it, the first thing we do is set up. Each candlestick represents a week in this case to look for the Wyckoff zones. Wyckoff zones, to put it simply, I explain it very easily in my course. I've created a course where I tell you how price works, how it moves, and what the strategies of the strong hands are. But what's fundamental is understanding why they move the price. And it makes sense. They buy in a cheap zone, move the price up quickly, and sell in a more expensive zone. Period. There's nothing more behind the charts. And the strong hands know this well. They play with that strategy, trying to get retail traders to do the opposite by using indicators. Simple. There are four phases in Wyckoff: accumulation, for example here, a markup when they push the price up. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, what they do is buy cheap, send the price up quickly, and sell in a more expensive zone. That's what they did. Here, normally the distribution should take about the same amount of time as the accumulation. It didn't, which is why we understand that at least half of the distribution is still pending. But anyway, then in the markdown phase, they drop the price quickly and then look for another accumulation zone to start the same process over and over again. They try to disguise the same move, sometimes doing two accumulations, for example, or two distributions. Here we saw a double accumulation, here a double distribution, because obviously they have to keep tricking people all the time. That's why on this channel, I upload a video every day looking for those clues. Right now, we're in an accumulation zone in the long term. As you can see, it's already targeting the 69,000 area, and it's very clear. The lower zone around 60,000 is the support area of this channel, and 69,000 is the resistance area. Every time the price gets close to one of those two zones, you have to check the volume to see how the big players are reacting. Knowing that, we zoom in and switch to the 4-hour chart. I'm on mex.com. What we do is watch that movement more slowly so we can do some swing trading for the coming week or do some intraday trading or a more suitable scalping strategy. We know that the price tends to move toward the 69 zone, but that doesn't mean it's suddenly going to appear at 69. It's just the trend. You could say there's a magnet in this area, and the big players have to keep tricking and disguising their moves so that retail traders keep selling short, meaning betting on the price going down, while they can push the price up. Many times what we see is a slow climb, and then suddenly, for example, a very large red candle that makes retail traders who still believe the price is going to 52,000 sell quickly. They create that fear again and can buy as the price goes up. What we're going to see in the coming days is the price clearly reaching the middle of the channel, which is around the 64,000 zone. It's clear that it's not going to get there quickly. Instead, it's going to keep playing around because it can still take advantage of retail traders' intentions, but that's what it's going to do. We should always display the volume because it's the only element on the chart that the big players can't hide. The big players show up on the 4-hour chart when there are volume spikes above 1.5. As you can see, they showed up in the area to hold the price. Without letting the price drop below 58, when it broke 60 and they tried to create more fear, and now they're still trying to instill that fear. As you can see, they're not as present in this channel anymore because the price, without much effort, rises to the 69 area. They only need to make a little effort to pull it back and bring it down from that area. Let's see, in the coming days, reaching the 64 area, retesting the upper zone, thank you, from 64, and then little by little up to 69. We need to see how those movements play out to give an accurate forecast for the next day or even the same day. Broadly speaking, the movement we're expecting is to reach 64, retest, and at least touch 69. That's what we're going to see, but with some nuances. That's why it needs to be analyzed every day. For example, right now, it could go to gain more strength near 60. It's very unlikely that it will actually touch 60, but it's a possibility we have to keep in mind. How can we tell if the movement is manipulated or not? The main reason, or the fundamental way, is to look for the peaks and see how the spread reacts to those peaks. Because you already know that in VSA, which I also explain in my course, there are 3 laws, and especially the second one helps us determine what that price movement is together with the Japanese candlesticks. In VSA, it tells us that if there is an effort, in the second law, if there's a big effort, we should see a large spread in the candlestick. When we don't see it and instead see a rejection wick, that's a clear sign of the smart money, and it's telling us that the price is going to move in the opposite direction. For example, here volume appeared. Not as much as 1.5, but it was already coming in. Volume had started to appear earlier, and then it really came in strong, and we saw that rejection wick with that small spread. This is a pretty clear signal. Not 100% clear because the volume should have been a bit higher, but it's something that should already put us on alert that an upward move is coming, and that's exactly what we've seen gradually play out. You know that many times these signals appear and then the move unfolds over the next few days. Now let's take a look. We've already set the forecast for the coming days, but stay alert anyway. Pay attention on Sunday night. Today is Sunday, it's not even noon yet in Spain, And when Sunday night comes, the price tends to pick up a bit. We get back into the weekday rhythm, and you have to stay alert because there are a lot of funds, especially from the Asian region, that take positions in Bitcoin, and we might see a sudden wick or some unexpected move. That's why you need to keep an eye on the charts starting tonight. Like I said at the beginning, there are two really easy ways to make money trading. The easiest way is through my VIP Telegram channel. I give signals, I keep you updated on these Wyckoff zones, VSA, and how the chart looks in real time. I'll leave the link in the description. And then you can use that to do what I'm doing in the July challenge. The July challenge is about starting on July 1st with $500 and making micro trades. So it would be a good idea to make a micro trade when you see the move I'm predicting on VIP Telegram starting to play out. At that moment, you make the micro trade, and just like I did in this challenge, I'll show you yesterday's entry. You grab $15 or $20 without making things complicated. The June challenge. It ended, I started with $500, and in the end, I only had to exit one position, just one position after a whole month, and I finished with $727 without any complications. What I want to tell you is that you can make a 50% profit without making things complicated. Here I'm showing you the TP that mex.com sends me because you already know that I do all my charts and trades on this chain, which always has a lot of rewards and a lot of offers for people in the community. And I'll leave the link in the description. And as you can see, now the account is already at $554. Just like I did in June, what I'll do in July is whatever I earn, since I started with $500 and finished June at $727, if this month I end up at $800, for example, I'll raffle it off among everyone who has signed up at mexday.com and made a deposit. That's the second easiest way to make money, which is to enter this raffle. Because last month, I think there were 9 people who participated in the raffle. So there's actually a pretty good chance, without having to risk anything, to win. I'm Mikel Vasquez, and this is Daily Bitcoin Analysis. Thank you so much for watching this video. As I always tell you, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my experience after more than 15 years in professional trading. See you tomorrow. The week is starting. I'm sure Bitcoin will give us new clues, the big players behind all the moves, and we'll be following those clues. See ya.